So he who fails to plan is planning to fail, and that is the truth. Today's topic is going to be a little different, but we are going to get into some bloodhound and some pretty neat indicator tools, but I thought that this might be something important to go over, because without a trading plan, we will all be doomed to fail. So, and again, I am Stephanie, not Winston Churchill, and the same thing goes for the ladies in the room. She who fails to plan is planning to fail as well. So let's go over a couple things. There are no guarantees that you will make money in trading. I think you all know that. And what I'd like to do, I did set up a little poll, Keith, if it's okay, real quick. I'd just like to find out first, what is your trading experience? So a lot of you that have been trading a while probably understand this guarantee very well. So more than half of you are intermediate, looks like. 21% advanced. Nice. Good to hear. Thanks so much. So we've got a real good group of intermediate traders here. That's great. We have a handful of beginners and a handful of advanced. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Gives me a little bit of an idea. So some of these things for you advanced traders, especially if you already have a trading plan, may be a little boring. I promise you the second half of our presentation we'll get into some charts. But I think this is very important for people that are struggling, and especially beginner traders. So again, there's no guarantee that you will make money in trading. Hopefully you all know that. And developing a trading plan is crucial if you want to become a consistently successful and thrive in the trading game. Every trader, no matter what your experience, needs a plan, whether you're advanced, a beginner, or intermediate. So what is a trading plan? Do any of you have a trading plan that you've developed, created, written out? Yeah, no guarantees. Is anyone looking to develop a trading plan and having a tough time or struggling doing it? Okay, I see some of you are answering in the chat. That's good. Thank you. I just I'm on a new plan. Awesome. Thanks so much. Anyway, a trading plan is a business plan for your trading career. And like any business plan, a trading plan is where you will make assumptions about projected risks and profits, trading conditions, and some of your assumptions will be right and some will surely be wrong. The question is, how do you handle it? How do you manage it? And how do you move on to the next trade? You wouldn't start a business without a business plan, so why would you start trading without a trading plan, is the question we need to ask ourselves. The real value in creating a trading plan is that it focuses and forces you to think about confronting your strengths, confronting even your weaknesses, and formulating expectations. So again, there are so many traders that start trading because it looks so easy. I've had so many people say, well, that looks easy enough. But if you're not managing your trade entries and exits, your risk and reward, your profit taking, you can turn a winning trade into a losing trade real fast. So any solid trading plan consists of the following components. There are no shortcuts in developing a trading plan that will support your objectives. Take time now to think about each of these components thoroughly, and you will thank yourselves later. So a trading plan would consist of creating an objective, a methodology, risk-reward management, developing a trading strategy, and keeping a trading log. So TouchZone Day Trading does if for those of you that don't know me, we are a trading room. We are currently, I will tell you before we even get started, I want you to know that we do offer one-on-one consultations and one-on-one mentorships. But at this time, our summer trading room is full. We do have a wait list, and we are accepting new members in the fall. So I just wanted to mention that before we get into the meat of this presentation. Okay, so what I think we'll do is, so far I think, and I'm going a little quick through the trading plan commentary, but are there any questions so far on developing a trading plan? Anything you'd like to share on a trading plan that you already have developed would be awesome. Psychology 101, yep, I hear you. Always struggling. Okay. Yeah, so anyone that is interested in developing a trading plan, consulting and mentoring with us at TouchZone Day Trading, can give us a call or email. We can set up a time to see if what we offer meets your needs. We also on our website have a traders survey that you can take. So what I'd like to do now is just bring over some tools that we use that will show you a real good way for those of you that do not own Bloodhound, how to get started building trading strategies. While I'm getting the charts over, can you let me know in the Q&A or the chat box if you already own Bloodhound and or heat map? Our focus today is going to be on Bloodhound and heat map. I see some familiar names. Bloodhound and Raven. Nice. Good, good. Looks like we got a lot of Bloodhound owners here. That's awesome. Alrighty, so I'm bringing over a chart. So obviously building a trading plan it takes some time. It's very individualized for each person. And so getting any more in depth to building a trading plan would take a consultation, if you ask me. There is a lot of information on the web, but if you really would like to work with someone that has experience in this industry, I have over a decade of experience working with people building trading plans and building systems. So, and for me, I have found that it's so individualized for each person. I have several members that I work with that are scalpers, that they only like to get in and get out really fast. I have several members that are swing traders. They're looking for 2 to 3, 4 point moves throughout the day. So there's not a one-size-fits-all trading plan, in my opinion. Also, a trading plan needs to be customized to fit the instrument you're trading, the time of day you're trading, and the risk reward that you're trading with based on your account size. So again, a specialty that we do offer at TouchZone Day Trading is the ability to help you build a system and build a trading plan that fits your needs. So that being said, let's get into our trading plan. So I'm going to resume the chart, and if I could just get a confirmation, do you all see my ES TZ Renko chart for today? It does look like. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we trade in the room primarily ES and crude, and occasionally NQ and YM. And we definitely have members, trading members that trade the YM and NQ. But my main focus has always been, and probably will always be, ES and crude. I'm comfortable with them. I know them very well, and they just seem to have enough volume that they don't get too volatile, if you will. So one of the things that I've learned over the years is when you have an instrument that is too thin, the swings and the whipsaws and the volatility is undependable. I mean, it just can't, I'm sorry, the word is unpredictable. So you just can't seem to predict what the moves are going to be. ES, in my opinion, is traded by so many people. The volume and the institutional traders, their methodologies are repetitive. So you're going to see, in my opinion, more consistency with patterns and with the way an instrument moves. So again, our primary focus is ES and crude. However, we do, thank you, we do also, our zones are built for all 4 indices plus crude. So the YM and Q, we just added the Russell, ES, and crude. So our zones are built on support and resistance from a accumulation of several different indicators and levels that are historically given. Now, the zones will be on your chart if you do subscribe to our membership. The zones are on your chart prior to the US Open, and they stay still. What we have on this chart here are a few other tools that we have also developed over the past year or two. And I'm going to point a couple of them out before we start talking about the trades and the strategy. So the first thing I'd like to show you is down at the bottom of my NinjaTrader 8, I have 4 different tabs. And hopefully that's not getting cut off by the Zoom. The bottom left, I have the ES TZ Renko. I have the ES TZ Renko Naked, which is just our Bloodhound template, no indicators, because when you're using Bloodhound, you don't need the indicators on your chart. So I prefer to have indicators on my chart, but I don't like too many. And with Bloodhound, you can eliminate all of them if you choose to, the ones that are at least built into your Bloodhound template. Now, there are some people that don't like to trade with Renko bars, so I also created for you to see our ESTZ minute bar, which is, it's not ours, it's just a minute bar. Our minute chart, again, this is all of our indicators that we use throughout the day. If anyone is using the tools to trade discretionarily, but if you would like to see a chart that is a 5-minute chart with no indicators, there is the Bloodhound template with the 5-minute chart. So again, there are so many different ways to trade: minutes, volume, ticks, Renko. Any trading strategy that you work with should be able to work on whatever kind of chart you are using, or sorry, that you're comfortable with. So if you're comfortable with trading a time-based bar, then your trading strategy or methodology should work with a time-based bar. Now, this particular Bloodhound template is a little bit, it has to be a little bit off because, and I'll tell you why. On the Renko chart, we are looking for, there are a couple different ways to enter a trade. You can enter a trade aggressively short as the market is going up into support, or you can wait for a reversal bar. Here's aggressively going up into support, or you can wait for a reversal bar and let it prove itself to you. Now, in this particular case, if you have a very tight stop, a couple ticks above the swing high, you'll get stopped out. But if you have your stop above the zone, and remember this zone was here prior to the US Open. So if you have your stop above the zone, then you're in it. You take a little heat, but you're still in it. So there are a couple different ways. There are some traders, again, part of building your trading plan, some traders that are more aggressive and like to get in at the level, and some traders that like to wait for the market to prove itself and then take the trade. So again, each trader has to build a plan that they are comfortable with, considering their strengths and weaknesses and risk and reward. Okay, this is our TZ Renko chart. We also use a market analyzer. Now the market analyzer, hopefully anyone that's been trading a while knows that you probably need a couple, 2 or 3 monitors most of the time. Two is sufficient if you ask me, now that NinjaTrader has offered these little tabs at the bottom with NinjaTrader 8. Before NinjaTrader 8 came out, I think that you definitely had to have more monitors in order to be able to view other charts and still be able to see them, because if you have eyes like me, and I've got my over 40 eyes that are going bad with the watching the screens all the time. So you want your chart nice and big and visible. You do not want to have to be squinting to see what's happening on this chart. So having my chart full screen and then just being able to flip from tab to tab using NinjaTrader 8 honestly has been a beautiful addition that NinjaTrader has added. Now the market analyzer I usually have off to another monitor or below a chart, but doing the presentation today, I want to have everything full screen. This market analyzer is going to let us know each day if these 4 markets that are what we call the sisters, and what we're looking for is a trend, a correlated trend. When they are moving in the same direction, like our Shark Indicators Heat Map Pro showed us today, the moves are generally longer, stronger, and have a lot of follow through. So if you have a strong heat map, and again, another crucial tool, if you ask me, no matter what system you use, no matter what indicators or tools you use, Heat Map Pro shows you at a glance what the indices are doing and if they're trending in the same direction. So if you see a heat map that has ES that's pink and Russell that's red and NQ that's green, and YM that is green, you've got 2 markets moving up and 2 markets moving down. And that typically is going to give you a congested day, a sideways, a consolidated market. So for me, my favorite time to take trend trading entries is when I have the Heat Map Pro showing us all one color. Now the Heat Map Pro that was that Shark Indicators has developed, and I was proud to say part of the development team, will show you shades of color. So the further away we go, the further we get into a strong trend to the downside, the darker the red module for that instrument. So as you can see, the Russell is 1.36, negative 1.36 down at this moment. This is still live because the market is still running. And NQ is doing much better than the Russell, has recovered quite a bit, only 0.27. Either way, what we're looking for is correlation. And in today's chart, today couldn't have been a more perfect day for our Bloodhound template, because we've actually built the Bloodhound template to only take signals when we have at least 3 out of 4 of these markets in sync. So I kind of I jumped around a little bit about this, and if you have any questions and if I have missed any, please let me know. But main tools whether you use our indicators or, depending on what strategy you use, the main things I would like to impress upon you: A, a trading plan; B, Shark Indicators Heat Map Pro; and C, a market analyzer. So you can see at a glance what everything is doing, not just this little bitty chart in front of you. Because in my opinion, there are so many good tools out there. We've seen several presenters this week, that have excellent tools, excellent strategies. And when you build something with any one of these Shark Indicator Partners tools in Bloodhound, and you get good entry signals and good trade management plans, it usually will always come together. So there are a lot of different ways to enter the market. It's really going to be, what way are you most comfortable with? What way works for your account size? What way works for your risk tolerance? So the Heat Map Pro told us today that the market was just down right from, I think, just after 9 o'clock. So we were 9:01, we had a short signal. Now, that being said, we were selling into support. So not a trade that I would have taken. This is one that I would have passed on, because, and even though it does work well, and typically you're going to see trades like this work really well at a high volatility time, which we do discuss in our trading room, that 9 o'clock is a high volatility time. So if there was ever a time that we can slice through anybody's support, it's 9 o'clock, 9:30, 11:30, certain times of the day when you are expected to have a lot of volume, a lot of people involved. Yeah, I think the market just closed. That's why they went blank. Oh, sorry. Let's see if I lost that here. I don't know if I have my Heat Map Pro set to stay on top. Okay, so back to the Bloodhound. So our Bloodhound template that we're showing you today is based on correlation, because that is my favorite way to trade. I will trade trend trades only when the markets are highly correlated, because otherwise, if they're not, you get chopped up. There's just, we've all seen it. And tell me if you don't mind sharing in the chat. Yeah, I see a couple questions. I'm sorry, I missed a few. If you don't mind sharing, tell me if you have experienced, you're trading the same methodology, and one day it works great, and the next day you can't get one right. I'm sorry. Yes. 3 out of 4 is what I look for in sync, trader. So he's asking a question about the Heat Map Pro. So the question is, 3 out of 4, do you mainly use the 9:30 EST market open as a starting point rather than a session start? Okay, good question. I use 3 out of 4. Heat Map Pro gives you the ability to change that setting. If you want correlated, if you want to see the word correlated, you can. Mine is set currently to 75%. So that means 3 out of 4 markets have to be in the same direction to consider it correlated. That being said, our Bloodhound template is also built on 3 out of 4 markets doing the same thing. So if if we have, let me just see if I can find, yesterday was a good example of, I'm not going to do market replay. What I'm going to do is just go back through a couple days for anyone that would like to see on the ES. So yesterday, you know, someone might ask, was it yesterday? I'm sorry, day before yesterday. Bear with me. Or here it is. Yeah, yesterday, didn't we have a hard time with a couple markets going up? Took a little while. So I will be honest, I will miss out on some trades because I don't have the correlation. Okay, so I will miss out on some trades. We did not have the necessary correlation or markets in sync for my trading plan. Again, this is my trading plan until this time of day to go long anyway. So there were a couple shorts early in the morning. This was yesterday. But the market was very choppy. And you can kind of see because we have lower lows, higher highs, wider ranges, narrower ranges. It's just there's no smooth patterns happening. And that typically happens when you have markets that are going in different directions. So once we finally got a breakout of this area, we got some nice signals and nice correlation in the markets. And I'm here to tell you that if you start with a bias to the short side and you do not, which is what we had earlier, and you do not switch it when it's time to switch it and you hold on, you'll regret that. So again, part of your trading plan, knowing when to admit you're wrong or admit that the market sentiment has changed, and also knowing just when to sit on your hands and stay out of the market. So there is no holy grail. There is no trading pattern or system out there that works every day, all of the time. There just isn't. And if there is, let me know where to find it. I want to buy it, but there isn't, because the market is different every day. The markets are different every day. So it's important to take a look at your entire picture. And again, this is part of our trading plan I wanted to share with you, is watching the entire sentiment of the market from the, not only do we watch from previous session close, but we also watch the people that are just trading the US market, the US Open. So to that question someone asked, yes, I use 3 out of 4 markets in sync, and I also watch both, not only the previous session, but also the US Session Open, because it's almost like we talk about it being a baton handoff. And sometimes when the market has gone pretty deep into the lows overnight, you'll see some profit taking at the US Open, and you'll see them hand off the baton and take it right back up to resistance. So that being said, I think it's important to watch both, not only the previous session close, but also the US Session Open. Hopefully that answered your question, Trader. I think that's your name, Trader. Okay, so Jay Mark, we have been using RB and HO to correlate with crude. But I will tell you, crude is a beast of its own at times. Definitely will have some correlation sometimes with ES, not like it used to. Used to be very correlated to the ES, but it's not as much like it used to. It's so news driven these days, or event driven, or headline driven. So the 2 markets that we like to use currently, there aren't 4, I haven't found another one that's consistent enough, are RB and HO for the futures. Okay, so trader, hopefully I've got that now. Correct. Well, we're still, now let me explain that. So I think, Gabriel, to your point, discretionary overrides trading plan. So our trading plan is what you see. We like to trade from, if we're in a long bias, when this is all green, we like to only take longs, and when this is all red, we only like to take shorts. Okay, so unless, and I prefer to just stay out of the market if there's a mix. If there are two markets moving up and two moving down, the best thing to do is just sit on your hands and wait for the markets to be in sync. Now, can you scalp it from one direction or another? I think if most of you have probably heard of the rubber band trade, where you just kind of bounce from very close support and resistance. The problem with that method, and it's not a bad method if you can catch it at the right time, but the problem with that method is that when it does go out of that area, it's going to go out with some fury. So like here, we have a boxed area, if you will, and when it finally left that area, not that today was a consolidation day, because it was not. Today was a nice trending day. But when it left that box, it left pretty firmly. And there's no way to really see the full top and bottom of the box until you're gone from it. So that whole, for me, when the market is consolidating, I still like to stay with the overall trend. Now, we had a small trend to the downside, but in fact, our midterm trend and our large trend, which is more of the weekly, monthly, was still to the upside on ES. So this did really well just with our small trend down. Imagine what it does when all three trends are in sync. That's even better. And markets being in sync to the next level. That again, our market analyzer is important. Are you got a message that my internet is maybe not connecting well? Have I been loud and clear? Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's go over a couple more things. So any questions before we go on, because I don't want to jump around too much. Are there any questions on the market analyzer or our heat map pro and how we use it? So let's try to stay on that for a moment. And then I'm going to go into describe a few of the tools that we use to build our Bloodhound. Jay, good question. I'll get to that one for sure when we get to the chart. Gabriel, is the heat map reading the overall daily chart sentiment? Yes. The heat map is reading from the previous session close. So is everyone clear on that? I had a session with a member the other day, and some people start their charts, some people use a 24/7 chart. And I want to let you know that if you use a 24/7 chart, that means that midnight is your opening price. And what's midnight for me is not midnight for someone in California. So it's really not relative. I do not like to use a 24/7 chart. If you use instrument settings or the CME electronic trading hours, that will give you a start from, a close at 5 and a start at 6 p.m. previous day. Hopefully that answered your question, Gabriel? So the heat map is all about the open or the close. Okay, so heat map, if you've heard, it's a commonly used word in the institutional trading world, and it talks about where that particular stock or commodity or future is based on where it closed at the previous session. So if it closes at 3,000 and it moves up to 3,010, well, then that gives us a green heat map. Does that make sense? And if it moves down, if it closes at 5 o'clock at 3,000, it moves down to 2,090, then we're going to have a red heat map for ES. This quadrant will be red. Right here, the ES one. If what I'm looking for is all 4 of these girls to be in the same color. So no, you can't use, let me back that up a little bit. No, Joe, heat map does not come with Bloodhound. It is an add-on. And stay tuned till the end of this webinar. I've got a great special for you on that. Gabriel, even though heat map cannot be used weekly and monthly, I think you said, or weekly, yeah, we actually have a tool that a couple of our members do use for the weekly read on the market, if you will, that will help to build a Bloodhound anyway, to build a Bloodhound template. Okay, awesome. Let me just see if I missed any other questions. No, would never sell into support. So that brings me to our zones. So our zones are gray when they are, yeah, so if there's no other questions, I'm going to get into a couple questions I see about our tools on our chart and the Bloodhound. Trader, that is a question. I think they are working on that. So heat map currently cannot be used in this sense exactly in Bloodhound, not yet. However, my Bloodhound template is only taking signals when these markets are in sync. So there's a workaround. It doesn't necessarily have to be compatible to build a template to take signals in their direction, if you will. I still like to have the heat map because I don't really love to have an NQ or a Russell or a YM chart open, but I like to see what's going on. I like to notice who's falling the hardest, who's got, who's not as weak. And so for me, the Russell tends to be a leader. And so when the Russell is beat red like that, it's pretty sure that our move is going to continue down. So anyway, that they are working on making Heatmap Pro, the new version, compatible with Bloodhound, but I don't know as if it's done yet. Hey, Charles. Oh, thank you. So Charles is a member of ours. Thank you. So he was saying that he likes the market analyzer for all those reasons, and it gives us a high level view of market correlations and strengths, and that is so true. I feel lost without my market analyzer now. I've become so dependent on it, along with Heatmap Pro. And it really does help us make a decision on what kind of trading to expect for the day. When you can back test or go back and look at a chart after the day is over, it's so clear and obvious that we were trending or we were sideways, but how do you know before it's over is the question. And so these are the kind of things that we teach and talk about how to, and they're also the kind of, that's what our tools are built around. They're built around seeing strength in market correlation. So let's go ahead into, I think we had a couple questions. I don't know who Jerry is. When I say they, oh, Jeremy. Yes, Jeremy. Jeremy. They, shark indicators. Yes, so that would be a question for Keith, and I don't know if there's an exact timeline for that to be compatible, but I know that it is in the works. Okay. If I missed your question, it's because these are rolling up and I'm not sure if I see them. I do apologize. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things on our chart. I'm going to move the Heat Map Pro off for a moment, and also the Market Analyzer. Well, let's discuss the Market Analyzer as well at the same time. So at the start of the day, this is our TZ Renko, which is fully customizable as far as if you want to change the size of the brick or the size of the step down or the size of the reversal bar. That is, there's no hidden secrets. It's all very customizable. We have these are the settings I usually use depending on the market. I never use the same setting for different markets because the markets are so different. What could take 5 minutes for the ES to travel 4 ticks, the NQ does in 5 seconds. So it's important that you make sure that your size Renko bars fit the instrument you're trading. That's number one. So these are our customizable TZ Renkos, and we put out suggestions or at least let you know what size we're trading with for each market. And okay, I will do that for you, trader. Yeah, so let me just show you the brick size. So here is the TZ Renko, and we have a trend brick right now set to 4. Our new bar starts at 1, and the reversal is 8. Again, you can start it at, you can have your trend at 3, whatever you find that fits your trading needs. The new bar can skip a couple steps to like 2 or 3. I like 1. And the reversal bar, I typically like it to be double whatever my trending bar is. And so for me, the ES moves in increments of 4 ticks, and that's why this works well. Now I will tell you, when the ES tightens up, and as the range has tightened up as of late, sometimes we will drop to a 316 depending on the movement, if we're not getting any follow through or movement. So on occasion, we will drop to a 316. When ES was moving 40 points a day, we were up at 5110. So it just depends on the current state of the market. So let's point out a couple of things now on the chart and go over kind of what our main tools are that we use to build our trading strategy and our trading plan. So the zones are, again, plotted for you automatically at the before the start of each US session. They are gray when they have been violated from both sides. They are red if they are still strong resistance, and they are blue if they are still strong support. Okay, so that's always going to be the same, and they do not move throughout the day. They are where they are at the start of the US Open. They stay on through the night because there are some people that trade the Asian sessions, and some people I have, but I don't have a demonstration for it right now, Jay. I do not use Blackbird currently only because we've just released some new templates. We just put in our NinjaTrader 8 solidly with Bloodhound. So we were not going to bring Blackbird in until everything was worked out with Bloodhound and NinjaTrader 8, which we are confident it is now. So probably adding the Blackbird back to our room charts sometime in August. Okay, yep, and I think Keith just answered the heat map compatibility with Bloodhound question. Okay, great. So the zones are, any questions on the zones? I think that's the best way to do it. Let's just take it one tool at a time real quick. Any questions on the zones? Yeah, they're red if they're resistance and they're blue if they're support. So in a down, now the only reason they turn gray is to let you know that the market has already been through them. We will still sell them as resistance if we're in a downtrend. So for example, when we get a signal to, when we're in a downtrend and everything's red and we saw the heat map pro was red, we're looking for reasons to sell. So if you're an aggressive trader, you're selling at resistance. It was support, it's now resistance. Again, get down through support at resistance. Once you're through the bottom of it, it becomes resistance. So we're not looking to buy support zones typically in a strong downtrending market. So even though they're blue, we encourage people to consider them more after we've gone through them, because what was support becomes resistance, especially when you have a market like you had today. Now, there are things that we will look for after the market has gone beyond its normal range and we start to see some weakness at the lows from the sellers, or we start to see weakness at the highs from the buyers. There are divergence trades that we will take that are counter the trend, but that's a whole nother session. So today we're just focusing on strong correlated trends and taking trend trades. Okay, so that's the zones. Now, the white dots, let me talk about those for a moment. These are dynamic support and resistance. So these are not on your chart until the market is moving. They are dynamic. So after the US Open, and unless you're trading the European market, typically we're going to wait until 9 o'clock before we take any trades, typically. And then we're going to make sure that we are safe and clear by 9:30 at that high volatility time. But the white dots are dynamic support and resistance. So as the market, there's no way for us to know until the trades happen at those levels. So as the market is building and our chart is building throughout the day and buyers and sellers are exchanging, you will get dynamic support and resistance that will, when it layers on a zone, become that much more reliable, if you will. So the zone was already here, and then we got the dots as well. They are now current dynamic support and resistance. Same thing. Again, only looking for shorts, and we don't ever want to sell into support because it may bounce. Unless you're willing to take the heat on the bounce. Now the dynamic support and resistance, the white dots, they don't always line up perfectly for you to take a trade off of them, and they are not required for this system to print a signal. It's just that if you see the dots and you are looking for a nice target or a stop, know that these are current support and resistance. Okay, great. Any questions on that? Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is our daily trend. So yeah, and if there are any questions, I'll get back to them. Let's move on because I think I'm running out of time. On the bottom of the chart, we see a panel here, and it says TZ day trend. So you can see clearly back test, back chart, however you want to back step, when the trend was up and when the trend was down. It's also coloring our bars. Okay, so that is the current trend of this particular chart. It doesn't mean that all the charts were that color. That's what we rely on the Heat Map Pro for. In addition to that, on top of your screen at the far left corner, it will also just give you a quick text as to what the current trend is. Because even if we're in a downtrend, you may be flattening out. So right now, the market currently on this particular chart is in a flat trend or a sideways trend. That's always going to read the far right edge of the chart. Okay. The next bit of information that we like to glance at is the average daily range. And so this is going to change from day to day, and let us know what this market, this particular market, what we can expect it to do on average. So that's our average daily range. And this is our current daily range. So as you can see today, the ES went 120% of its normal range. Now, that blue line right here will give you heads up that we're about to hit the average daily range. And why that's important, it's not, you know, as you can see, you can go through it, buy some, but most importantly, this is when we go beyond the daily normal range, we start looking for possible counter trend trades, and we stop taking trend trades. Now, can the market go 200% of its normal range? It certainly can. So do not get married to a counter trend trade, and do not expect to always win, because there are those days that are too strong to fight. And just because we go beyond the normal range doesn't mean it has to stop. But I prefer not to look for counter trend trades until after we are beyond that line, which is beyond the normal range. All right, now this is another beautiful tool that we use, and this tool is called our TZ ladder. And the TZ ladder is level 2 data. Now, we subscribe to a data provider that provides full depth of market, not only on crude, but also on the indices. And what you get for that is you get to see where all the buyers and sellers are resting. And there's our ladder in full. And for me, it's very important. Now, I've refreshed this chart a couple times because it's a real-time indicator tool. If you refresh, you lose these diamonds. These diamonds were printed because the dynamic threshold was met. Now, this dynamic threshold is it's a calculation formulated for each instrument to let you know what is considered a big level. What is a big interest? What makes that level important? So that level had the most, so since 1536 Eastern time. Again, the diamonds prior to that are missing. But that had the most interest. That level was the most interest in selling. Okay, down below, at 2970, we have a level of buyers still resting at a level of 694 people resting at the bid. So the ladder, the why I like our ladder different than anyone else's is that it's dynamic. It tells us, it gives us information that we can use in advance. so we can see where the buyers and sellers are resting. It helps us with targets. It doesn't necessarily work well for stops. I think people know about icebergs. They can pull their orders. But certainly if you have a big level of sellers and you're in a long position, you might want to consider taking profit before you get there. Just something to think about. It's one of those things that we use discretionarily. That's not part of our Bloodhound template, but it's just good to have to see where the buyers and sellers are resting. And the dynamic threshold, again, why I like this is because it works no matter what time of day you're trading. So if you're a US trader, it'll fit the US volatility and volume. If you're a European trader, it will fit the European market volume and volatility. So it will adjust according to the kind of trading that's happening at that time. Again, a little complicated. When you see it in use, you'll understand better why it benefits us. And okay, so that is the dynamic threshold, and that again belongs to the level 2 ladder. Okay, yeah, the blue line belongs to the trend. I'm sorry, the daily range. This one. The color of the bars belongs to the current state of the daily trend on this particular chart. Correct. Okay, lastly, again, our market analyzer lets us know the current day trend, the medium trend, and the larger trend. Again, it lets us know the daily range average and where we're at in today's. So again, the market analyzer is kind of bringing all of our tools into one quick glance area. So I'm going to move that aside for right now. The other thing that we have that has been super useful to trading with Renko charts is a bar speed. So the one thing we're missing when using a Renko is how fast is the market going? You know, we can see where the price went because we see tops and bottoms with these tails. That's beautiful. We can see volume because we have our TZ sum shows us how many trades were in that bar. But what we can't see is time because it has nothing to do with time base. So we've built what's called a bar speed that goes with our Renkos, and that will let us know if the bar speed is within trading, what's the word? Comfort time, I guess. When the markets are just going too slow and you're sitting there waiting for that bar to close like this, it can take forever. And you ask yourself, why did I get into a trade like that? And there are certain times of the day, even during the US session, that this may happen. So when you see this white line, and we've again got this built into our Bloodhound template. So when this white line is above average, this is part of the tool here. When that white line is above average, we're not taking any trades, short or long. That means the market's going too slow for us. And that's just our plan. Example, the white line went above over here. This was on the 24th yesterday. So even if there was a signal, we wouldn't have gotten it because the market took too long to form that bar finally. So I don't believe we got any too slow time today. Today was a pretty nice follow through, good movement. The bar speed did not block any trades. But that we do use to block trades. I'm sorry, at 16:34 we finally got no trade zone because the timing is taking too long for the bars to complete. All right, great. So I know I'm trying to show you so much in such a short time. At the very end of the far right corner here, we have our Renko marker. It tells us where the bar will close, especially when it's a reversal bar. So if you are a prove it to me trader, you're looking to get in after the bar reverses. And so we typically go 1 or 2 ticks below the reversal bar if we're taking the trade. Yeah, and that lets you heads up put your trade in advance. So that's our bar marker, TZ Renko bar marker. Yeah, so it looks different on, this is exactly the same chart with no indicators. So the Bloodhound template is picking up exactly the same signals, just removing all the indicators for those that like to trade a naked chart, if you will, where we don't, I'm sorry, the zones are still on and the ladder is still on because neither one of those are built into the Bloodhound. The reason for that is the zones are built with a drawing. The code is built with a drawing tool, so Bloodhound does not read the drawing tools yet. So unfortunately, yeah, so they're there for your reference, and there is some discretionary used in our room in that we don't sell into a zone and we wait for the zone to be in sync with the trend. So again, if we're in a downtrend, we're selling the bottom part of the zones. If we're in an uptrend, we're buying the top or middle part of the zone. Okay, that's the TZ Renko naked chart. And then I just wanted to show you the same similar strategy on a minute chart. Again, with the minute chart, you are, I'm going to show you a couple extra things. We also use, so someone asked earlier about divergence, and we use delta for divergence. It's the one tool that I have found for me that works the best. Divergence is very difficult to trade if you're trading it counter trend especially. And so the delta, it's important for us to see delta, especially at highs and lows of the day. And it is the one thing that I will use for divergence when it sets up properly. Okay, TZ sum is going to tell us when we have gone too far too fast and to start looking for this is TZ sum and TZ range. This is when we start looking for counter trend. Just a real quick highlight on that. So if we have a red TZ sum bar and a red TZ range bar, that means that that was extreme expansion in both volume and range. At this point, we start looking for, especially when we've gone beyond the normal, this is when, if you are a counter trend trader, you start looking for reasons like rejection tails or not being able to clear that zone completely, reasons to take a long if you're a counter trend trader. We actually also have a template just for counter trend trading. I don't have it here today in the demonstration, but that is for those people that love to buy the lows and sell the highs. Awesome. And then this is the 5-minute without any indicators. Oh, actually, I think I took the zones off too by accident. Yeah, 1 second, please. Let me just fix that for you. Okay. Are there any questions so far on the tools and Bloodhound compatibility with our strategy and setup? Can you do Forex? Can I do Forex? Oh, I'm so sorry. Give me, I don't know where that, I have to go back and check these questions. I really do apologize. It is, they're going by me a little fast. Just give me 1 second. Okay, the zones are back on too, by the way. Yeah, so I know several traders that for them, if they have too many indicators on their chart, it's mind-blowing. So it's important to know that you can remove the indicators once you build your Bloodhound template. And just, if you trust your Bloodhound template and you've back tested it and you've seen it do what you need it to do based on your rules-based method, then remove the indicators if it's too much for you, for sure. Okay, so a couple questions. Let me go back to those questions. So I think I'm bouncing back and forth from the chat to the Q&A. What makes our zones different? Okay. You know, trader, I don't know other people's zones. I just know that our zones work, and they work really well. And they don't disappear. They are there for you to use after the session after the session closes. If you trade Asian or European market, they stay on your chart until the next day. The only thing I can tell you is that, you know, I'm sure there are plenty of vendors, if you will, that create great zones, and everyone has their own methodology. Our methodology works for us. So I really couldn't tell you about the differences between vendor zones. I'm sorry, I can't answer that one as well as you might like. Okay. Do the BH bars print on the open or close of the Renko? Okay, so Jay, right here at 11:12, when this Renko bar closed at 3014, that stripe prints, and if you have your Bloodhound set to automatically take the trade, you would be in one tick lower or whatever you have your preferences set to. Okay, so that it prints on the close of that bar. Now, if you want to take the aggressive trade, the trade that is the up bar versus the down bar, if you want to be a seller, we can alter that for you, and you can change, you know, you can build your Bloodhound to take the up bar signal versus the down bar signal. That is no problem. So it would then have printed, if you're an aggressive trader, you want to trade when the market is going up, then you would just have to make a small adjustment in the template to get this to print the bar before, which is definitely doable. Okay. Pitchfork, I'm not sure what that means. I did trader. Oh, I think I answered that. Data provider for ladder, I use Rhythmic. They do charge extra for it, but let me tell you something, and I don't make any money off this, promise. They're worth every penny. I think it's like $25 maybe. Rhythmic data gives us full depth of market on the indices, not just crude. You get it for crude already. Heinz, yes, the SI Pro Renko bars are awesome. Okay, I don't know if typical trades. When we're using the Renko bar, our typical trade is less than, at least for target one. I scale out, so target one we're usually hit within a couple minutes. And I just want to take a look at something else. I had trade performance for today. See if it has that information for you. So today was an awesome trending day. Let me just take a snapshot of this real quick, because I can't take a picture of my account numbers. So it certainly isn't like this every day. I'm not going to say that it is, and I actually do and have had losing days for sure. So I want you to be clear on that. But today we had 14 trades. The average trade was $97. It was only on ES. Largest winning trade was $312. What else does this information give me? They were all winners. Yes. Yeah, I don't think it gives me, it doesn't give me the, you know what? It does give me that. That's true. This is a little skewed because I had an overnight trade that I set up automatically. So it is a little longer than it normally is for the US trading hours. Give me 1 second, I'll bring this over. So this is trading a 2 or 3 lot, 2 lot and then add on 3. And this was just an example from today. So again, this was for start of July 25th. There were 14 trades. They were all winners. And we netted 1362.50. Okay. Let's see if I had any other questions. What is the advantage to using Renko bars versus minute or hourly? Kevin, that's a great question. I don't know as if I would ever eliminate either or. I love the Renko bars for simplicity of entry, and it just really takes some of the noise out of the charts. It's all about price action. So therefore, I really love trading these Renko bars. However, I have to be honest, I will not give up my 5-minute bar because I still glance at my 5-minute bar, because the 5-minute bar gives us, it shows a little more personality. So I look for rejection tails, and I look for, these are rejection tails right here. We look for just things, especially at the high and low of moves, that kind of give us heads up on what might be happening. I do think that the 5-minute bar shows a little more personality, but it's sometimes difficult when a 5-minute bar gets too far out of the way, especially when we're moving out of congestion. Then the entry is a little further than you might like to have. So for example, this entry at 1120 is 3011.50. Now let's just see what it was over on the Renko bar. We actually got in at 1112 earlier at 3014. So quite a difference in risk reward. I guess, you know, you could also size down to a 1 minute, but that gets way too noisy for me. So I still use time-based bars in the background. That's why I always have tabs. I don't normally have 4 tabs like this. I just have the naked charts just to show you what the template looks like without the indicators. But if it were my live trading and during the trading session, it would be a Renko chart with a 5-minute chart in the background, just to peek at the personality every once in a while, especially at high volatility times. Yes, I certainly have had losing days for sure. Yes, I used to use Raven to execute my trades before Blackbird came out. Okay, Rob, did you, hopefully I answered that question for you. The order book, I get my, well, first of all, the TZ ladder is ours. This is one of our tools that you can subscribe to as a TZ Tools member. And the that is part of this dynamic threshold. It's more than just a ladder, trust me. But you would, in order to do more than 10 levels on ES, you would need to subscribe to a data provider like Rhythmic. Yes, Heinz. I'm going to bring Blackbird back in now that everything is running super smooth. I was just waiting till after the last update. My zones are usually my stop placement. I definitely don't like swings, especially the nearby swings for stop placement, because I think those are perfect stop runs. And in my opinion, they are just prime for the taking. So if I'm entering on this short here, it's not an exact, if I'm entering on this short here, my stop is up here above the zone. Now, might I get taken out to the tick and then it goes down? Yes. But, those are the chances you take. You still have to, you never know exactly where the perfect placement is. Everybody typically likes to use swings, and swings are the prime place for traders to go stop hunt those stops. And for me, I use a combination of the zones for stops, the dots, the support and resistance dots that are dynamic, and I also keep an eye on diamonds. So if we have diamonds showing up across the board, because we have a large level of sellers or buyers, I will also take that into consideration. Okay. Charles, I'm not sure if you're asking me a question, because your question keeps coming up, so I'm not positive. So J Mark, I use our delta divergence. It's difficult to use. I'm going to be honest. I don't love divergence on Renko charts because, and honestly, we don't really need them. Our signals are printing at pretty ideal locations. Now, the only reason I like to use divergence is typically at the low of the day when I'm looking to buy after we have gone through some expansion. So if I'm looking to buy down here, I'm certainly not looking to sell at the lows. This is a trade I would not be taking. And you can also turn, there's so many things we can do to the template to turn off the trend signals once we have gone beyond the normal range. Now we're looking for possible counter trend signals. We're looking for the buyers to step in and the sellers to subside. So that's where I would use divergence, but I have to be honest, I prefer divergence on a minute chart. I do not love divergence I like it on a time-based chart, not necessarily on a Renko chart. It's very difficult to see divergence in delta on a Renko chart unless it's extremely different, which I could find some examples and show you. If you have, I will put delta on my Renko chart, and sometimes there will be such great divergence you just can't deny it. But if it's too close to see, I don't like to take those. I don't like to even consider them. But sometimes on the minute or the time-based bars, you can see divergence in delta very well. And this is our delta. Now, you won't always get delta divergence. This is our delta here. And as you can see, we did not have any delta at the low of the day, but there are plenty of times that we have had beautiful delta divergence. But today was not one of them. You can see there are some other things. Again, I look for other things to consider, and I don't have our counter trend template up, but when you get a red like this, I pointed out earlier, after you've gone beyond the normal range, a red on too many, too much, too far, too much, too far, some in range. After you've gone too much, too far beyond the normal range, you start looking for this kind of rejection tail, and our counter trend system or template would look for just that. I only have the trend system on right now. Okay, great. Thank you so much. On the heat map is the 1 and 3 for reference. Milby, the heat map is, yeah, and I'm going to get you guys this promotion for the webinar today. The heat map is just to show you at a glance what the markets are doing as a whole. So as far as correlated goes, if I'm trading the ES, yes, I want 2 other instruments at least to be in the same direction. And I really prefer it to be, if I had to pick my druthers, it would be just like this order: ES, Russell, and Q. Oh, thank you. The market just reopened. And so, bear with me 1 second. My dogs are going to set off my alarm. I apologize for that. Yeah, I did not realize I ran a little overtime. I apologize. And my dogs just set off my alarm at my office. Okay, so yeah, the market just opened. So as you can see, this is a great demonstration of heat map. When the markets are so close to the close, they're going to be gray, which is a color for flat or neutral. All right, NQ popped up nice and strong, so it is green. So that is the, so for me, there's no trading. And this template, there will be no trading. There are no trades going to set up until these at least 3 markets are in sync in the same direction. Okay. Oh, thank you for that. This is our dynamic trend channel. Turn that speaker off. This is our dynamic trend channel. The green line here, it's built automatically when there are higher lows, you'll get a green channel, and when there are lower highs, you will get a red channel. So you'll always have at least one of each on your chart, and the historical ones will leave their markers, the arrows, but the historical channels go away. You can set your preferences to leave them if you want them, but I only like the channels that are currently in play. Let's show you on the Renko. So currently on the Renko chart, the TZ Renko chart, we have where our most current trend is to the upside as far as a trend channel goes. You'll get a signal when the market breaks out of that to the downside, and that would be a short signal denoted with a red arrow. And when the market breaks to the upside on a green, you'll still get a red signal suggesting that you're getting overbought. So if this price goes up into this green channel, that is going to be an area of possible resistance, because we are getting outside the bounds of our current channel. Yes, Gabriel, they're gray because they were once red or blue, but once the price violates them from both sides, typically I know some zone indicators will disappear. Ours stay for your reference later, because in fact, even though it's been violated, we want to still consider it as support if you're above it and resistance if you're below it, at least until it's been hit 3 times. Oh, sorry, the channels are not pitchforks, no. They are trend channels, and they draw automatically. Okay. Okay, I'm so sorry I've run out of time. So I need to, if I've missed your questions, and I'm sure I have, bear with me 1 second. Okay, I'm doing that right now. Thank you, Keith. I am so sorry. Went on too long. Let me bring over the offer that we have for today. So I'm going to give you a link, and I hope everyone doesn't click it at once, because last time that happened, we crashed. In the chat, right? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Here is a link to our Shark Week bundle specials. We're doing that today and tomorrow. Tell me if it worked. Tell me if the site crashed when y'all hit it. I don't know. If you're interested in becoming a member, and or because this is all about Bloodhound and heat map. So if you're interested in becoming a TouchZone member, we do have a wait list. We have some openings coming up the end of July. I'm sorry, the end of August. Bear with me. And what I'd like you to do is, if you're interested in becoming a member, fill out this trader survey for me. I'm going to put that in here. I think the site is still up. That's great. Thank you. Okay, in the chat box again, if you're interested in becoming either a subscriber of the tools or a subscriber of our trade room, if you could fill out that trader survey, and we will get back to you and give you a heads up on where we're at on our wait list. If you are looking for a mentor or a coaching session and you just need someone to help build a trade plan or get you started if you're a beginner on trading, here is a link for our consultations. We have them as a 1-hour consultation or a 4-hour training session. Let me put that out. That's the third link. So the first link is the bundle. And what you're going to get with that bundle, if you are interested in buying Bloodhound or Heat Map or both, is the special is actually you get installation and setup with me at no cost. That's the discount. And if you're not interested in the survey and you just want to be on our webinar mailing list, here is the contact form. So currently, to subscribe to our tools right now is $199 per month. Okay, Heinz, awesome. Heinz, if you could do me a favor, and I know I've talked to you before, so very exciting. If you could either fill out that contact form and or the trader survey for me. I prefer the trader survey so I can get a feel for what you're looking for and what you are trading. That would be awesome. Keith, did all of those links come over okay? And has anyone had any trouble getting to those pages on our website? Okay, I know I missed questions. If I did, I hope you will email me. I'll be happy to follow up with everyone.
Hi, Steph. I guess Keith must have stepped away. So, yeah, your website came up, and all the links I can see them in the chat window
I'm
there.
just getting you my contact information.
Yeah, sorry about that. I messaged her directly. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay. Steph at TouchZoneDayTrading.com is my email. And I want to thank you all for attending the webinar today. I'm so sorry I ran over time. I appreciate Shark Indicators having me. It's a pleasure to be one of their partners. They are a great group of people and traders and support. And they honestly, this tool, their tools, not only Bloodhound, Heatmap Pro, Blackbird, if you don't get anything from TouchZone, definitely these tools are the backbone of helping you build a solid trading strategy, being able to back test it, believe in it, and see it with ease. So hopefully those of you that don't have it and are on the fence, you'll consider getting it. I think it's probably the best investment I ever made when I started using it many years ago. Heinz, I can do, yeah, reach out to me and we'll chat about that. Thanks, Gregory. Appreciate that. I'm glad to hear of we moved to a new server to make sure we wouldn't crash this year, and looks like it worked. Oh, Heinz, do you have the form? I put a link in the chat box. I can put it in again. Yeah, again, if you are considering Heatmap and Bloodhound, that's the best bundle. And that will qualify you for, with this special, it will take $200 off with the installation and training with me. Okay, so 1 second. There's the trader survey. Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks. Again, if I didn't get to your questions, I fumbled a little bit through these Q&A and the chat box. Please send me an email. I'll be happy to reply. And see you next time. Happy trading. Thank you.